Marketing is about values.
Nike didn't call me and sell me this in a catalog. I bought this swoosh because it's ingrained in my soul.
When you have a product that really resonates with customers, the word of mouth grows like wildfire.
Welcome to the Marketing Max Show. Now, let's dive in.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Marketing Max Show 2.0. So it's Logan and Max back here with you. Max, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Feels like, we're already halfway through the first month of 2025. The year is an eighth of the way, or not an eighth of the way over. That's too much. Whatever that percentage is, it's a higher percentage than we're thinking right now.
Like 3 or 5% of the way through. That's a crazy thing to think about. Wow.
Right?
Wow. I would say this is actually, like, business-wise, the best start to a year I've ever had. So I'm pumped and excited for the rest of this year.
Nice. What's new with you that people should know about as we dive in?
New with me in terms of business, in terms of life, in terms of
with the business, because I think part of that is what we're going to be talking about today in the mailbag segment, right?
Yep. So the reason why this year has been so good so far is essentially, I sold my agency 3 years ago. It was a Facebook and Google Ads agency. We were one of the first true, what you would now call performance marketing agencies in the game back in 2016, specifically for startups. And grew that business, sold it 3 years ago. And then I started creating content online as Marketing Max. And I've dabbled in a bunch of different projects, a bunch of different software tools, agency services, info course products. I've been trying to figure out, like, what my next big thing is. And it's not even that big, but, like, just, consistent mid 7-figure a year revenue like I had at my agency. And I've launched a couple things that I thought would get me there. But essentially what happened was around Labor Day of last year, Labor Day 2024, I don't know if there was something in the water or if the stars aligned properly, but, like, 4 of our newsletter advertisers reached out to us and said, hey, you do a really good job at converting your subscribers into customers or leads for our business. Because after selling my agency, I started the Marketing Max brand, and I now have 117,000 people that read my newsletter, and we work with big sponsors. A lot of our sponsors came to us kind of after Labor Day and said, hey, you're really good at converting your subscribers into customers. Will you build us a newsletter? Use your growth strategies to build us a newsletter and grow our list full of target customers for us, and use your secret sauce strategies, methods, whatever, to convert subscribers of our new newsletter that you'll create for us into into leads and into clients or customers of our own business. And I said yes to 2 clients. I was just like, sure, how much would you pay? And they gave a pretty fair number out. I didn't even need to negotiate the first 2 clients. The results were absolutely insane. And I kind of realized, like, the thing that I want to scale next, and the thing that has the best opportunity to scale the mid 7 figures next, is something that is right underneath my nose, because I've been doing it for myself and generating leads for my own businesses for 2 years using these strategies. And it's something I happen to be really good at, because it is an agency. It's still people servicing and emails back and forth and growth and lead gen and all that fun stuff. So I know kind of the process and the systems and the tools to execute and fulfill client servicing. I have the audience to do it. And now I know, like, this is what it is. So essentially what we're doing is we're running Meta ads or LinkedIn ads to get people to sign up for your newsletter or your client's newsletter, our client's newsletter. And the moment someone signs up, we put them through a type form to qualify them as a potential customer or client of our client. And then if they are qualified, if they say they are ready to book a call, we show them a Calendly page, and they book a call right then and there. Regardless of if they book the call or not, though, we share that lead information data with the client, so they know, last month we drove 400 new newsletter signups for you. We converted, out of those 400, 25 into qualified leads. Go chase down these leads if any of these were qualified leads that didn't actually book a call. And then we actually write the weekly newsletter for you. So it's a crazy lead gen funnel that is rather simple in essence, but it's crazy in the sense that, like, we're running Meta ads or running LinkedIn ads to get people to sign up for a newsletter, disguising the questions that you'd normally ask to see if they're a good fit for your business or your product or service, whatever it is you're
Or if you're
selling.
in market right now, right?
We disguise those in a type form that a normal newsletter would ask to try to better get to know their audience, that they could give that data to advertisers, or that so they can, better write content for their new audience that's subscribed. And then what we're doing is we're, like you just said, we're qualifying those people. And it's an old marketing stat that only 2% of your audience is in the market to buy right now.
Yep.
The other 98% is not waking up going, I need to find a marketing agency today, or I need to find a agency consultant today, or I need to hire a bookkeeper today, or I need to find a AI development agency, or whatever it is today.
Yep.
And so what we're doing is we're basically surfacing the 2% of the market that is in the market to buy today, bringing those to the top, and then we're nurturing the other 98% so that when they are ready to buy, they've been getting the weekly emails that we write on your behalf every single week. And when they finally wake up and are like, damn, I need a bookkeeping service. Oh yeah, I've been following Max's, newsletter for a long time now. He seems to be really good. I was just in a meeting. We needed a new bookkeeper at our company. Like, I'm going to go to Max, right? You stay top of mind. And that way the people who show up for the sales calls have a much higher conversion rate because you built affinity with them.
Yep.
Right. So I've been talking for way too long, but that's essentially what we're doing now. I need to come up with a better way and a shorter way to explain it. But yeah, essentially what happened was I sent out an email like on January 2nd or January 3rd, whatever that Sunday was. And I basically said like, hey, here's what I'm doing.
Yep.
Here's the success that's been happening for the first few clients. Here's why I think it works so well. It totally crushes it. We booked 25 sales calls on that first email I sent out to my list of 170 people.
That's awesome. I read that email. Yeah, I read that email, and you and I were going back and forth, and I thought you did a really good job of summarizing it there. It kind of recaps basically what you said here in the 4 steps. Like, ask for something easy. You're not promoting your product, your service. You're not asking for a demo or a sales call. Optimize a landing page around newsletter signups.
Yep.
Number 3, qualify the leads and follow up with those that are qualified. That's really where the magic happens. And then number 4, keep the weekly newsletter touch points coming. So I have a ton of questions on some of those. And for anybody who listened to episode 1 of the new 2.0 version of the Marketing Max show last week, if you didn't check that out, go check it out after this one. We talked about 2024 trends that were proven wrong. But we talked about these new segments we're going to have. And one of them is going to be mailbag. So if you want to send in your questions to ask myself and Marketing Max here, go to growthdaily.com, and you'll not only get the newsletter, but you can respond to those emails with your questions and have them featured here on the show. But today, you're going to be all my mailbag questions, because I'm like, Max, this makes a ton of sense. I like what you said in why it works, because I think as marketers, one of the things we're always challenged with is how do we find and not lose out on the 2 to 3% that is in market, while not alienating the 97 to 98% that's not, right? And I've seen myself swing either way, like, oh, we need leads now. We need to go after this. And then it's like, I don't really like this. I know I'm burning some bridges, but we just gotta, right? Or you're way over here and you're just like, we're just adding value. As Gary Vee would say, we're jabbing and jabbing and jabbing, but we never throw a right hook. So like, how do you mix the jabs and the right hooks? And I think there's something to this process. And, a lot of people could hear what you just said, Max, and say, well, yeah, like a podcast, YouTube channel, even a blog in some form or fashion, although it's not really consumed the same way these days, can do those same sort of thing, the trust building, the affinity, that sort of stuff. But what I like about a newsletter is it accomplishes the same thing, but with first party data and no algorithm between you and your audience. So that's what I really like. So with all that being said, let's break down my questions for you on these steps of running this sort of newsletter funnel, if you will. So step 1 is making the ask. It's putting the ads out there. If it's Meta, if it's LinkedIn, where it makes sense for you. What are some do's and don'ts you've learned so far, now experimenting with not just Growth Daily, but a few clients, maybe in different sectors and that sort of stuff, with different sorts of newsletters? What are some do's and don'ts when it comes to running these ads for your newsletter signups?
The first thing, and forgive me if this is obvious given my explanation of what we're doing and then Logan's kind of follow-up explanation to it, But the first most important thing is to simply tell people like they're signing up for a newsletter. If you Google lead gen agency, or if you go find any lead gen agency, cold email, Facebook ads, Google ads, cold LinkedIn messaging, like cleverly.co does like cold LinkedIn messaging. If you go and use any agency to use any sort of lead gen strategy, the first thing they're going to do, it doesn't matter the medium, whether it's cold email, ads, cold LinkedIn, SEO, it doesn't matter. The first thing that they're going to do is write some copy or something with a call to action at the end that says book a call. And that is just so wrong to like what I consider to be good marketing, because essentially you're sending a cold email to someone that knows nothing about you, that has no idea who you are, no idea what you do, no idea why you're better than any of your competitors. And you're essentially saying, hey, in one sentence or in 30 seconds on a little video, like in one sentence on a cold email or 30 seconds on a video and on an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad, I'm going to convince you enough that I can solve whatever problem you currently have to the point where you're willing to spend 30 minutes, your most precious asset as a human on planet Earth, with me. Like, that's just so bad marketing. That's just such bad marketing.
Yeah.
You know, the average person, they said in a study like in the 90s, the average person needs to see or hear your brand 5 times before they decide if they're going to purchase or not. So that in and of itself is just so backwards. And so to answer your question, like, you know, what are kind of the do's and don'ts of meta ads or LinkedIn ads? The first thing is to simply say, hey, this is a newsletter and this is what it covers, right? If you are X and you want help solving Y, or you want to achieve Y, subscribe to this completely free newsletter, completely free. And we're going to send you a weekly tip, or we're going to send you a weekly insight, or we're going to send you a weekly case study or whatever to help you get closer to XYZ. Right. So the ad itself, I mean, we find the most success with static ads, almost like memes or like just like text on a screen. Sometimes works the absolute best. Sometimes like pictures of me speaking at speaking engagements or conferences with like really big text works really well. But most of the time it's memes, and essentially just saying like, hey, you know, here's some guy that's like sad, and this guy's struggling to grow his plumbing business. And here's a happy guy that's driving like a really fancy car, and he runs a very profitable, you know, $5 million a year plumbing business because he subscribed to Plumbing Marketing Tips Weekly or whatever the newsletter is. Right? It doesn't just work for agencies; it works for software businesses too. So we would run an ad that shows, you know, someone sad saying, I hate spending 5 hours a week, you know, updating Salesforce, or I hate spending 5 hours a week updating our HR tools. And then a happy person saying like, wow, I just saved 5 hours a week thanks to the tips that I got in this HR newsletter, right? So the first thing is like, you want to hide the business almost. You want to create like a new Facebook page with the name of the newsletter. And the other question I get a lot is like, what should we call the newsletter, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know, if my company is, let's use your company. Which one of the two do you want to use for this guinea pig?
Yeah, let's talk about business builders. So for our agency,
business builders. Okay. So who's your target client at business builders?
Yeah, so I would say typically small to medium-sized businesses, especially service-based businesses, and kind of I've heard it described before as like your bridge offer, like not what do you do on retainer, because we're a full service agency, so we do websites and video and all of the social media and everything. But really kind of our bridge offer is what we call our marketing blueprint, where we audit, you know, their current marketing stack and help them use the StoryBrand framework to clarify their messaging. So like in my mind, I've actually been thinking about like something around storytelling and walking through like different examples, different before and after when it comes to storytelling, maybe even using specifically the StoryBrand framework that we could kind of we could frame a newsletter around. You can tell me if that's a stupid idea, though. That's the point.
No. I don't think that's stupid at all. I just want to tie it back to what I was saying before, which is, you know, one of the biggest questions I get is like, should we call it the Business Builders newsletter, right? If the business is called Business Builders, we call it the Business Builders newsletter. How many times can I say business in a sentence? I don't know.
Yeah.
But my recommendation is to shy away from calling it company newsletter, because number one, you want to kind of hide the fact that your business is behind it. I like to call it like a velvet curtain. So if you ever do a Broadway show, you can kind of hear the people walking around getting in their place before the the stage show, Broadway show, wherever, the onstage show is. You got to hear them, and then when they want to pull the curtain back, they can pull the curtain back. So that's what we want to do with the newsletter. And so that's the first reason why. The second reason why is we have an opportunity to name it something that would be more enticing than Business Builders Newsletter. Right. We know that our business, we know that our target client for our business is a small to medium-sized business who wants to take their messaging more seriously, and who wants to take their marketing more seriously, right? Invest the time, maybe the money eventually with you guys to take their messaging and their communication to the next level, right? So maybe we want to call it like business storytelling mastery or something along those lines. Business messaging 101, business messaging 110. Like these are just things that are just popping in my head. But we want to call it something that will attract the target client of your business. Right. And then again, we would create a new Facebook page. We'd call it, business messaging 101, or like,
storytelling secrets or something.
Storytelling secrets, exactly. We call it storytelling secrets. And then when people sign up for the newsletter, they think they're signing up for storytelling secrets, which again, this is not like a bait and switch. We're like at the footer, put every email, like sign up, this newsletter is brought to you by Business Builders. And if you want help with XYZ, click here. Right. But just by not running an ad or sending a cold email or sending a cold LinkedIn message that says, hey, we can help you with your messaging, book a call here, you're doing marketing the right way. And so to bring it back to your original question, how do you think about meta ads and LinkedIn ads? You literally just want to have ads running that say your newsletter's name and what the newsletter is about. And then we'll take care of the conversion later on down the road.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And it's very similar to advice I gave clients when I was at Sweetfish and we were launching podcasts for a lot of B2B SaaS companies. They wanted to name it company name podcast. And we're like, who's your ideal audience? Let's name it after them. Right. And make it clear that it's for them. And so naming it after, the problem that you're helping them solve, or after the persona, or after, the skills that you're helping them develop, like storytelling or whatever it is, I think makes a ton of sense. And I've seen that applied in other contexts. All right. Step number 2 is optimize your landing page. Obviously, or anybody listening to this is an experienced marketer. They know kind of the basics, like don't give them an 8-field form, that sort of stuff. But I imagine now that you've done this a couple of times, you've done it for Growth Daily quite a bit. What are maybe some of the counterintuitive things when it comes to building and optimizing your landing page, specifically with this funnel, that people might not know about? We should talk about, Max.
I've spent well into the 6 figures of my own money driving newsletter subscribers on the back of Meta and LinkedIn ads for my own newsletter. And I'll tell you, first and foremost, everyone in the newsletter game is always trying to figure out how to lower their cost per subscriber as much as possible. Right. Everyone slaves over creative. They obsess and slave over the word, the picture, the color, the meme, the video, how long is it? Everyone slaves over the creative, when in reality, it's actually the landing page, the newsletter sign up landing page, that will have the biggest impact on your ability to lower your cost per newsletter subscriber. So I use this tool called Unbounce because I have so many projects and I have so many clients now. We pay them $1,000 a month for the enterprise platform or the enterprise program. I think the program you would need to do A/B testing on it is $150 a month. Okay. But I use Unbounce, and I'm always testing 4 variants at any given time, and keep it short, like no scroll on desktop, like literally one, like the size of your laptop basically, and then try to make it as short to scroll as possible on mobile. And then the goal really is to communicate just enough to get them interested in giving you their email, right? The goal is to basically say, like, one of my favorite taglines is like, you are about to get, or we'll help you achieve XYZ. So like, you're about to get one framework every week to tell a better story for your business that helps, this is way too long, but like that helps convert customers and, or, prospects into customers easily, right? For years. And then I bullet point out, like, give me your email now. And you could go to Growth Daily. No, I don't know if it's on growthdaily.com. One of our other landing pages, I'll find it and link it to it in the
Yeah. I was gonna say we have to either shout out a link or put it in the show notes of some examples that people can look at.
But yeah, like you want to keep it as short as freaking possible.
Mhm.
And you want to just say enough to make it like overly compelling, where like if I just give my email and I can unsubscribe at any time and it's totally free, but if I just give my email knowing that I can unsubscribe at any time and knowing that it's free, I'm going to get all this other stuff. I'm going to get like a weekly tip that can help me achieve XYZ. This is a no-brainer to give my email right now.
Mhm.
So that's the landing page thing. I just think it's like the most forgotten about thing across the board.
And I think, like we said, anybody, in the marketing circles we run is going to know, okay, not a big form. You don't need to qualify that much. You were telling me offline that you've actually seen a big increase in conversion by just having email. No first name, forget about grabbing that for personalization tokens and stuff like that. Am I remembering that right? Would you recommend folks do one field, email only, based on your testing so far?
Yep. So one field for sure. On some niches, or I should say in some niches, I've seen the first name only decrease conversion rate by like 3%. So if the landing page is at 50%, it might go 47. And so some entrepreneurs, some marketers might want to say, hey, I'm willing to give up 3% conversion rate in order to get the email because it'll make them feel more personalized and special. I've been thinking about running a test this year to do that because people really, when they show up to these sales calls, they really feel like they have a relationship with Marketing Max, which is an alter ego of mine. That's not even really me. Like the jokes and stuff that I tell on Twitter isn't 100% me. But anyways, they feel like they have a relationship. So it would be nice to start at least the Sunday sends that I send out saying, hey, Logan. Right. Like that would be nice. But everything I've tested in the past, it kills conversion rates by upwards of 10%. So to me, that's just not worth it.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, man. Well, we've got, probably 4 or 5 minutes left here. I want to get your thoughts on, I'm a big believer in this qualification step. So simple form fill, but then you're rerouting them to a longer form. You're using Typeform probably because it's progressive. Like you can ask 5 questions, but it doesn't feel like you're asking 5 because it's only displaying 1 question at a time. How do you think about how many questions to ask, what questions to ask, and how to present these additional questions? Like I've heard some people say like, you'll get a bonus resource or help us create better content tailored for you. Talk to me about this stage of it, because I think this is where the magic happens.
Yeah. So from our clients so far, we've seen like 60 to 70% of their qualified leads come from the Typeform on sign up, and the rest come from the bottom of the newsletter saying, hey, if you like this content, click here and book a call. The reason we use Typeform is a handful, or there are a handful of reasons that we use Typeform. I'm a little all over the place with my words today, but it's a podcast, so maybe that hurts me. But anyways, the first reason is exactly what you said. The first reason is we don't want to overwhelm people. So in marketing, we sometimes call it like we don't want a wall of text, and we certainly don't want a wall of questions, right? If we drop people off on a landing page that has 7 questions on the same page, it's going to feel overwhelming. Like I'm going to need to spend 5 minutes to do that and to fill that out. And I don't have time for that. I got 400 other million things to do. So with the Typeform, we send people immediately after they give us their email to a first question that's really, really, really simple. Like, what time zone are you in? Or are you the founder? Or are you an employee? So we start off with a really simple question just to get them like in the motion, right? In the action of answering these questions.
Okay.
The other reason we use the Typeform is logic. So I know this is what you want to talk about, and I know we only have 3 minutes left, but the logic is really the secret here. Like the fact that we can ask, what's your revenue? And then if they don't have enough revenue, we can ask them a series of questions to try to sell them like a course or like an ebook or a downsell offer, or just like not show them the call,
right?
The only page. But if we say, oh, you have enough revenue. Oh, are you happy with your website on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you happy with your website? And if they say 7 or below, then we can say, okay, well, if we can show you on a call how to turn your website into your number 1 salesperson, would you be interested in a free call? And on that call, obviously, we're going to sell them like a $5,000 new website. This is one of our clients. Like that absolutely crushes it. But if they say they're a 9 or 10 happy with their website, then we can ask them, why are you happy with your website? And then we can ask another question saying, are you happy with the traffic you're driving to the website? And if they say no, then we can book them on a call to sell them social media services, or we can say, hey, our friends over at so-and-so. So the Typeform allows us to push them whichever direction we think we can sell them something in. And if you don't have a lot of products or services or different levels of your service, then it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Typeform is still important because we're essentially just qualifying. So we're only showing the calendar to people who say, I have enough money and I'm interested in booking a call.
Yeah.
A lot of people, this is the last comment I'll make on this. A lot of people I've seen, they just send people straight to a Calendly page. Whether it's coming from inside their newsletter, like they run an ad in their newsletter, they just link to the Calendly page, or whether it's on sign up, they send people straight to a Calendly page. Like, if you want help with XYZ, click below. Well, with Typeform, we were able to ask leading questions. And if you're not familiar with leading questions, because you're a marketer, you could probably imagine what they are, but if you Google them, it's one of the best techniques in sales. As we said last time, that was a clip that I think our clips guy is going to start posting. Like, the best marketers are good salespeople, and the best salespeople are good marketers. One of the best techniques in sales is leading questions. So it's not like, hey, we can help you do XYZ, book a call here, like the cold email strategy that everyone uses is, and I've been ripping on it this whole time. The magic here is really to ask a couple questions before you even say, hey, if we could do this for you, would you be interested in a 30-minute call? So simply by asking, are you happy with your website? Then by the time they get to the call, they're like, you know what, I'm not happy with my website. You know what, I would be interested in having a conversation about how to make my website better.
Yeah. So it sounds like, to answer a few of the questions I had in my mind, once they submit, they subscribe to the newsletter, it's just on to the next question. It's not kind of presenting them with, here's why we're going to ask you some more questions, or presenting them with something. It's just like, hey, it's just assumed because I'm giving you a question, but you make that first one pretty easy to answer. It's like a yes or no, a this or that sort. And then you go from there and you can qualify. I like what you said there. Even if you don't have a downsell offer, you don't have those clouds and dirt, right? But you have, I think I did that backwards, clouds and dirt. But anyway, for those watching the video on YouTube, but you can qualify out, and then you can move people along so that you're getting people, more qualified. Last question, and I'll let you run, Max. Do you have any idea of this process that you're running for both Growth Daily and for clients? How many people, what the percentage is of subscribers who then go on to fill out the Typeform?
It's roughly 50 to 70%.
Wow.
If you set up the Typeform properly.
I imagine that's higher than what a lot of people are expecting.
A lot of people I meet with, they're like, oh, probably like 10 to 20%. And then I look at what they have afterwards and they say, hey, you're subscribed. If you have a few extra seconds, or if you have a few extra minutes, please fill out this questionnaire. Like, you're giving people the permission to X out. Yeah. Right. Insane. But if you go to growthdaily.com and you enter in your email, you'll see the language I use right away. And that's like almost solely what attributes back to the 50 to 70% conversion rate of people who give us their email to actually filling out the Typeform. One of our clients, we have it at 90%.
Wow.
So it's like using this system, and that's why I'm so bullish on this. Like, using this system, we're able to book on average 5 to 10 qualified calls every single week on the ads alone, which most people who spend $3,000 a month on ads for their service can't even get to in a month. But because we're starting with the newsletter, right? And then they go to the Typeform where we qualify them and we ask those leading questions, we're able to book 5 to 10 calls a week at $3,000 a month for most of our clients. And then the long tail is for all the people who maybe didn't fill out the Typeform. Let's say it's a 50% conversion rate, right? The 50% conversion rate people, those people are still going to get the newsletter. They're maybe still qualified. They just didn't fill out the Typeform. So they're going to get the opportunity every single week in the newsletter that we send them that they voluntarily signed up for and will get value from. They get the opportunity to book a call in the future. So that's why I'm so bullish on it. It's the only thing that surfaces the 2% of the market that's ready to buy today, and then nurtures the other 98% so that when they are ready, they come to you first, and the sales rate's insane. Yeah.
Allows you to throw the jabs where you need to and throw the right hooks where you need to go back to the Gary Vee analogy, man. Well, this is fantastic. If you're listening or watching, go to growthdaily.com, check that out. Submit your questions so that Max and I can discuss them in a future mailbag segment. If you're not yet subscribed on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you catch future episodes. And until then, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Max show. It takes me and my team hours to produce it every single week, but it only takes you 15 seconds to hit that share button and text it to a friend, drop it in a Slack group, or share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any of your favorite social platforms. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my content. Have an awesome day.